This episode is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand, which means you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. So whether you want to catch the game live or watch the latest blockbuster, they've got you covered. And there's no annual contract. DirecTV Stream. Get your TV together at directtv.com. Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
You're now listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three guys are watching and just like that. And just like that, I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Kevin James Doyle.
My name is Jon Sieber. I loved your enthusiasm, Cory.
Welcome.
I'm excited to talk about tonight's episode.
You just had a banana. I can see the fructose surging through your veins right now.
Coursing through my
You're
veins.
just so pumped.
I'm so pumped. I got a workout in. I'm just ready to go. And
Kevin's
talk
over
about
there
it.
drinking Bang Energy.
No, Coke Zero.
Strawberry Kiss Bang Energy.
We are caffeinated.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
We're pumped up.
We are high on this episode. We only have two more before literally the numbers of this podcast plummet back to
Until you
their,
see all of us homeless.
yeah. We've only got two left.
Mhm.
I know. Tonight's the penultimate.
Ooh.
And listen,
What's up?
anything could happen.
I know.
One of the three of us could die before the next two podcasts.
What's crazy is
It's
we're
true.
on our way to Cleveland
Yeah.
right now.
We're on our way to Cleveland.
I'm in Cleveland, and I'm excited to see what happens.
It's
Yeah.
hot in Cleveland.
It is.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
there.
man.
I feel like it's exciting to just be like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen in Cleveland?
Opening scene
was
is
the
for
pod-
sure Miranda, like maybe at Hudson News, just super fucking pumped in the airport.
Yeah.
And then it shows her like on the airplane. I know. It
Or
has
she
it started
just-
with Carrie every single time. I don't know.
Or a
I know.
hotel room or an arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for.
What kind of food is there in Cleveland?
No, listen,
Yeah.
Tell us, give us some
let me
Cleveland
explain
facts.
to you guys. I grew up in the Cleveland area, Akron, Canton. My dad grew up in Cleveland. It's known as the Mistake on the Lake.
Mm.
Is that
Okay.
true?
Yes.
Wow.
There's a lot of oil, big steel industry that plummeted.
Okay.
Not a lot of money. It has the
Think she's going to be working in a steel mill?
monetarily it was bad.
Just swinging a sledgehammer with
Yeah.
some dirt on her face?
Chase seems like they have a working class energy to them. So
You-
Cleveland is like
You want to be with me, Miranda? Get down into the mines.
Yeah.
Bring up some steel. Mine up some steel.
yeah, totally. Well, Chase
I feel
gonna
like
bring
I'm in
the
a
industry
fairy
back.
tale.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I don't know. It would be great if some of Cleveland's Cleveland showed up in the episode, just like some architecture, some
You think we'll get a Drew Carey cameo?
Yeah. Do you know what's great is like we in Sex and the City, it was generally pretty awful when they left New York. Like
Yeah.
they went to LA, it felt a little bit off. They went to Paris and it was good. They went to Atlantic City and people just despised it.
Yeah.
What if this Cleveland episode is just an absolute banger?
Yeah.
It's
People are
just
like
Miranda just at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
what we found ourselves as the sixth character of the show.
It's LeBron James.
It is the northeastern Ohio architecture and energy. I mean, I just didn't know how much Cleveland we needed. It would have made Sex and the City 2 so much better. They're just on the sand dunes in their burqas in Cleveland.
Just going down roller coasters at Cedar Point.
Yeah.
Is Cedar
Dude,
Point in Cleveland?
No, it's in Sandusky.
Oh, okay.
It is in Sandusky.
But
but
it's a
it's
great...
got to be close.
Yeah.
Isn't everything in
Ohio's
Ohio?
a good fucking town.
Ohio's a good town. That's what's on the t-shirt.
Yeah.
On the back, it's like, forget about the mistake on the lake.
Yeah.
That's
Forget
what
about-
Miranda's going to be wearing.
Yeah.
Ohio is a good
I
town.
heart Ohio.
Do you think What was the wait? There was a thing you said a second ago that was like another Ohio slogan. Was there an Ohio slogan?
Ohio's
Where dreams die.
where
dreams
Ohio.
die.
Listen, I'm a huge fan of Ohio. I grew up there, and now I go back once a year. So I'm no, but I'm kind of chomping at the bit to watch this episode.
I'm very excited.
I'm very excited too.
Last week was our second highest rating, or did we all give it fives?
Highest. We went
Fives across the board.
three
Fives
fives.
across the board.
Solid
we
3
do
fives
wish
last
that
week.
we all agreed that we wished last week's episode was the third episode, right? Because you have the death of Big,
Yes.
you have the funeral to get over, and then that should have been the third episode. So this should be the fourth episode, and I'm very excited to see what we're going to watch tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like, I don't know, we've been on a streak of like the past 2 episodes have been just so on another level. So
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting to see where they're taking things.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm stoked. I want to see Che at an arena show.
Yeah.
I want to see Che just crushing up there.
Just crushing up there. And when we say crushing, there will be no laughter. There will just be, you just hear so much snapping. It just sounds like a bunch of fucking crickets in like a field. But instead
Like, you think people do this at Che shows? Is that what you're
they
talking about?
do.
Really?
Yeah.
At Che's taping, they did.
I didn't even know. I didn't even.
And
I missed that.
I actually read an interesting thing about how snapping is like laughter is involuntary, and so snapping is like basically they're like it's a completely other to snap at something is just totally different because you're choosing to do it, whereas laughter is something you can't.
You're a comedian. If you told a joke and I just sat in the front row and just gave you one of these, how would you feel?
I would not call myself a comedian anymore. I would say I'm a slam poet.
Yeah.
Here I am with. Or you believe? Do you remember Jonah Hill in 21 Jump Street? He does slam poetry.
Yeah.
It's so
wait, does he
fucking
do
funny.
it when at the talent show with the improv?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, the improv scene is so funny when they're trying to get a suggestion and Channing Tatum's just throwing stuff out there and he's like, just do jokes.
Yeah.
just be funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you doing this? Just be funny.
Yeah.
It's so great.
What's this from?
21 Jump Street.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they
Classic.
snapped or not, but that's where I feel like snapping came from like Greenwich Village and like
Yeah, it was like a beatnik poet thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Che's comedy is like poetry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
Yeah. Chase comedy is like poetry in that most people it's unrealistic that I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. I like poets. Yeah, whatever.
I like poetry.
They're the Robert Longfellow of this. Let's watch the episode.
Let's watch it. I'm chomping at the bit.
I don't want to hate on Che too much because we do it all the time. And
also last episode we didn't hit on Che. Last
I know.
episode
That's
we were
why I'm bringing a
1,000% team Che. Yeah.
positive vibe to this episode because I'm very excited about what's going to happen.
Let's watch it.
All right.
Let's go to Ohio.
Katie?
Hopefully.
Take us home. Land the plane, Katie.
You are now arriving in Cleveland.
Ding.
If you're ready to be more productive and efficient in your mornings, listen up. Stop wasting time scrolling through endless articles online or getting lost in your email inbox trying to keep up with the day's news. Instead, listen to all the news you need in just about 10 minutes a day with the Newsworthy podcast. Not only are we fast, we also focus on staying fair and factual. So if you want to be informed, not influenced, the Newsworthy is here for you. And because we cover a wide variety of stories, from politics to tech to even entertainment, it's not just the doom and gloom stuff. Never feel uninformed, overwhelmed, or annoyed by the news again. Listen to one of the fastest growing daily news podcasts recommended by the likes of Harper's Bazaar and Podcast Magazine. In fact, Fast Company called the Newsworthy 10 minutes of well-spent listening and said the tone is fair, effortless, friendly, and trustworthy. Simply search for The Newsworthy in your podcast app right now to subscribe and listen for free. Search for The Newsworthy to get fast, fair, fun news of the day with The Newsworthy.
Episode 9. No Strings Attached. Carrie questions whether she's ready to take another step towards letting go. Charlotte boasts that she's finally finished with menopause. And Miranda's spontaneity backfires. And now, back to the boys.
And we did not go to Ohio.
We did not go to Ohio.
Not even
at
close.
all. So I guess someone went
I'll
to
tell you
Ohio.
where we went. And I'm going to be bringing this up a whole bunch in this episode.
Where?
We went to Sunset Park, Brooklyn with the Tacos El Bronco truck.
Did you see?
Of course I saw it. I freaked out.
Dude, that's John's favorite.
It's the best. It's the only thing that my neighborhood is known for. Tacos El Bronco.
I would disagree with that and say your neighborhood is also known for Melody Lanes, one of the best bowling alleys in all of New York City.
And
That's
best
true.
view in New York. Best view of New York.
That is true. If you go into Sunset Park, the actual park, and we got Industry City, but Tacos El Bronco is the focal point of our neighborhood.
Amazing.
Here's a pro tip for
Thank you,
that
LTW.
that are listening, and you're like, I want to go get Tacos El Bronco, some of the best Mexican food in New York. Don't go to the truck.
Yeah.
Go to the restaurant. And here's the best part of the restaurant. I think it was once a Japanese restaurant because there's like pictures of Mount Fuji in the wall and then just black stallions like running by as if it's the Mexican countryside.
We went, now I'm remembering when we went there.
Yeah.
We went there
we
for
went
dinner
for a
one
pod
time.
meeting one time. didn't we?
Delicious tacos.
That was
So
when
good.
we started our Patreon.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true.
We had a meeting there and we're like, we should start a Patreon.
Yeah. I love Tacos El Bronco.
ladies-
Which, by the way, we responded to all of your Instagram messages. We're recording a Patreon episode after this.
Yes.
That is us taking calls and talking about all the things on the Instagram to have a discussion of this episode. So go sign up for that.
Yeah. All right. Let's you want to get into it, John? You want to give us the breakdown and then we'll dip right in?
This is like the task of breaking down an episode is becoming
It's a lot.
increasingly more challenging.
I can do it.
I wrote what happened in the episode,
Yeah.
but I also wrote every character and what was occurring.
Okay, cool.
So what happens is we have a chat and chew. We discuss menopause and painting. We see Lisette bring Carrie a ring, and she
Hot.
Who? The ring? Carrie?
Lisette.
Lisette, yeah. And they start talking about, Carrie starts thinking about and pondering about the ring that Big left her. We have Anthony coming over. We're working hot guy bread, which is great. And then the star of the episode, in my opinion, Lily getting her period and not being able to swim in the Hamptons. We have a Che date in which some fans come up, take a selfie, and really blow Che up with their sex life.
Mm-hmm.
We have Seema and Carrie waiting in line and Instagramming the wedding ring.
As a fellow comedian, that always happens.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I think you had sex with my friend somewhere.
And then we
Really?
have the dinner party in which Anthony brings over Justin, the Holocaust denier. And we have an actual good montage of Charlotte prepping Lily for the tampon. Can't wait for the three of us to discuss tampon logistics.
Me neither.
It's what I'm really looking forward to.
Me
I know
neither.
how they work.
We have Carrie and Peter. Is that Mr. Trigg's name?
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, Peter.
Carrie and Triggs date scene. And then we have Che and Miranda, where Miranda brings over cookies. And then the last final scene was the painting scene. I wrote Tacos El Bronco in all caps. But basically, we have LTW with the perfect family, Nya and Andre circling back on whether they want kids, Miranda pulling back from Che, Carrie pondering Big's ring, Charlotte is the period/menopause, freaking Steve, the beast.
Jeez.
And just like that, I was up for a dance. We end with Seema and Carrie going into the club.
Wow.
Because she's the boss.
Good job.
Good job, John. You did
I need a break. I need a
great. Well, where do we want to start?
There's so much to talk about.
Let's organize it in. I have to be honest about my feelings about the episode, which are we need to. Where should I place my negativity?
How do you have negativity in this episode?
Because I think it was like
This episode was awesome.
I think this was like, for me, almost like ruined the entire series.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
We have a Bradshaw debate then. This episode was fantastic.
I feel like there's a lot of good things within the episode.
What was bad in this episode? Start with your negativity.
Yeah, let's get into this.
What was
listen?
What was possibly bad in this episode?
I've thought about this a lot. I think there's a lot of let's choose a character, and then this whole episode will not be me being negative, but it's like
Lily.
like an important,
We'll start with Lily.
Okay. I'm just saying, at some point, I need to break down the philosophy of why I hate this episode.
Do it now.
Okay.
Yeah, don't tease us.
So the Cleveland setup.
I'm disappointed in that.
This whole time. Now the internet. We were early to the Che criticism, and
hold on. It's called Chate.
Yeah.
We were early to the Che.
Yes,
we were early chaters,
and then we decided, and I know there's on Instagram some people like Che, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with Che completely as a character in like small ways.
Mm-hmm.
The underpinning of this character is bad, and this episode proved it. They didn't go to Cleveland, and that was a dumb setup. And so maybe something will happen next episode, but I'm telling you what, they may not end up together, but the writers of Che do not. They believe that Che is a good, well-rounded, interesting person.
Che was such a small percentage of this episode, though.
I know, but that storyline and between the Miranda and Steve situation is, I think, the biggest betrayal of
anything ever
in this new series. Yes.
It was
yes,
bigger,
it's like the reason why people are pissed.
A bigger betrayal than Brutus and Caesar.
Listen, if we're going to take this seriously, the writing of the series, seriously, which we don't have to, because I get it, it's just a TV show. But I don't think that they have a respect for Miranda and Steve. I don't think the new writing staff does.
Okay.
And I think it was on display. And specifically, I think that Che is, you can agree with this or not. I read this and I think I had a conversation with my friend Olivia about it, right? Okay.
Olivia who's been on the pod.
In what way is Che not a supporting stock character, okay, that's like who comes to the aid of a protagonist in a film who possesses special insight, mystical powers.
Mm-hmm.
What
are you talking about?
That is a trope called the magical. I'm not going to say it. It's magical Negro, but it's like it's like discussed in film classes, and those are bad black characters.
What mystical powers does Che have?
There's no judgment of their drug use. There's no judgment of their disrespect of Miranda's marriage. There's no judgment of their alcoholism. And then you're always on stage. You happen to be, hey, I have a great podcast in a great arena, and I'm a great comedian. And also on top of that, I'm a nice person, and I'm going to be committed to you, and I have an open relationship. I don't think, and we'll see, maybe I'll change next episode, but there's no, all even the negative things about Che are still spin as positive. That's like, hey, I'm cool. Beep, 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 Bob. I'm just like a chill person that fucks everyone and does drugs and drinks all the time.
They're not fucking everyone. They're only fucking Miranda.
In this instance, but there's no judgment of this being a potentially flawed character in any way. And I'm just saying, I thought that it was headed towards something in Cleveland. And without that being there, for me, the entire Miranda Steve Che thing falls apart in a way that is a major betrayal of everything. And that's all I need to get off my chest. And I think that Che is the reason why there are magical characters is because, like Legend of Bagger Vance, this is just Will Smith, the black character, coming out of nowhere to teach white people, like, I am the wise black man.
And you think Che is doing that for queerness?
Yes.
Is Che doing that? Is Che doing that for Miranda, for not for queerness, but for an awakening for Miranda? I'm not saying that makes it better, but I'm saying it's not for queerness for the series. It's for, I mean, that would actually be the same thing you're saying, but is Che used as a device for Miranda waking up and changing her life?
Yes.
You're also making an assumption that Miranda can't change. Why can't Miranda, the character...
Miranda is changing.
Why can't Miranda, the character, change and lose interest in her marriage?
They can. I'm saying
that happens 50% of the time.
Yeah, because it's
in
done
relationships.
in a poor. It's written in a poor, ham-fisted way that doesn't involve any like.
But this is a show about Miranda, not Che.
Yeah,
and I think in this episode we saw Miranda responding. It had nothing to do with Che at all.
But the Che has magical powers that is possessing in order to give the white, in this case straight,
my
the white.
My idea of magical powers must be different than yours. Like just because the character has a Netflix special and isn't funny doesn't mean they have magical. Like I don't see what you're saying there.
What magical powers literally meaning like to see the truth, not like lasers and stuff, but to see the truth of the world in a way that teaches another character like the correct way to see the world. And I don't see, even with the driving drunk thing, like
which was never the driving drunk thing. Cause the reason I want to say something about that is I think some people would be like, what driving drunk thing? Because it was never brought up. But it was never brought up the fact that after Che
did Che say that they were going to be the one behind the wheel? Maybe Che has a driver.
I know. I don't think that the writers had any anticipation that Che would be as hated as they are, and I think that I don't think it's random. I think like your impulses when you're watching a story, if you don't trust someone, it's because it's like not real. And I don't think that the writers, I think they think Che is cool. I think they thought Che was going to be like, man, this is fucking awesome. And instead, all of the different little pieces of disrespect for the other people around Che, I don't think they wrote that with like, oh, it's a flawed character. I think they thought everything about Che is cool, including the disrespectful things. And I think that the example that I have is with like Steve.
I don't think the writers are concerned with Che being cool.
I will say this. I just want to say objectively, Che is not cool. Okay, continue your discussion. Che is not cool. Continue.
Che has laser lines. Yeah. And laser lines are cool. That is an objective statement.
Laser lines are cool. I don't know if I think Che would find a way to make them uncool. They'd be like they would say like, oh, these
chaser lines.
These are chaser lines, and it would automatically.
I love chaser lines.
Do you know what I'm actually upset about? This is
lines.
This is what I'm upset about. Laser lines.
Laser lines.
I'm upset that I thought there was going to be more Cleveland in the episode.
I know that's what you're really pissed about. I wanted Miranda at Skyline Chili.
People from Ohio
That's
do
Cincinnati.
have a lot.
Fuck you.
People do have a lot of pride about Ohio. I do think. Okay.
That was a poor writing to set that up. And
I agree. That's exactly what I was about to say. I was about to say we were left with a major cliffhanger that everyone all over the internet was saying, oh my gosh, Miranda's screaming that she's in a rom-com. There was that great meme that Every Outfit made. That was like,
yeah.
I forget what the
you're living in a fairy tale. She tells Carrie at right before Carrie goes to Paris.
Right. Yeah. Every Outfit had that, which was fantastic. And then the payoff is just that now they're at Empire Diner together and we don't even hear about Cincinnati. And that I think is a huge missed opportunity. How dare
you? Cleveland. You can't just exchange another city.
My bad. It's all one Rust Belt. Hey,
Cleveland so
if
dirty.
we just lost you, let me tell you something. We didn't lose anything.
Okay, so
Ohio State.
So
get out of here. You can't copyright these. Get out of here.
Che and Miranda from
just kidding. I love Ohio.
This episode.
Then I like it more, but I don't think it's realistic that they're going to show up at that house.
Kevin,
But that's what's funny about Sex and the City.
I was bugging you about something before the episode.
Don't roll your eyes at me. That shows contempt, and I will not stand for that. We are podcast partners.
Ooh, that's
It's
like
not
a marriage
contempt for
stuff.
you. It's not contempt for you. It's contempt for this storyline.
You never roll your eyes at a friend or a lover
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
unless it's shadiest.
Oh, this is the snapping. What? And then we can move on because I could hate on this the whole time. But what's one thing that Che has ever expressed about interest in Miranda? Like, Che doesn't even
Che called Miranda pretty, extra pretty in the diner.
Yeah.
Che called Miranda Rambo. And
But it's like
No, I agree. Che, I think, has a very selfish, standoffish vibe, which I think would be a more interesting thing to explore. To say like Che is kind of a fuckboy, maybe. You know, which
Che
fuckboy is. It's weird to say a fuckboy. Fuck them. It's weird to say fuckboy about a non-binary person, but you know
the
like,
thing
that's the
that
term.
Che has done for Miranda is whether you agree or disagree, has enabled Miranda to discover if Miranda is happy with her life and if she wants something more.
By saying that, though, I do have to agree with Kevin that by saying that is possibly a device as a magical power thing where Che is brought in as this kind of
I mean, I don't listen. I'm in a position now where I feel like I'm defending Che.
No,
and
I don't think you are.
I don't necessarily love the character, but I love the scenes that Miranda and Che were in. I love that Miranda identified that she was like acting foolish and sticking to like the rules that I think Miranda would have scoffed at a while ago. And I think it's an interesting examination of an older person who might be thrust into this confusing world of identifying not only who they are, but a dating life and finding themselves attracted to someone else. So I'm not really even concerned or care whether or not Che is magical. I think it made for interesting TV. And I can understand why Steve was like, I can understand why people would be off put because Steve was done dirty, but it also gave a really great opportunity for him to show his true colors with the scene with Carrie. And I just enjoyed all the scenes and the acting.
I do think that and maybe we'll get it next episode, but I think that Miranda is getting off a little easy with everything from the setups that we got in this episode. I think Miranda got off a little easier, maybe I'm just not satisfied with like the things that I'm seeing them like, oh, maybe they're going to do that. But like even the thing where the people come up to Che and it's like, can we get a picture with you? And Miranda says like, I'm just the girlfriend. And
there was a look that Che gave.
So maybe that will pay off later. But there was even things in that scene. And then Miranda finding out that, Che banged their friends, like it seemed like nothing was done with that information. Maybe it'll happen later, but I agree. I do think there was a little like goofy rom-comness about Che and Miranda and not any sort of payoff. And I do think you're right. I mean, I do agree with you that Che can kind of do whatever as it was. Oh no, never mind. That was Lisette. When Lisette said she was obsessed with Carrie's podcast, I was like, nobody's obsessed with that podcast.
Yeah.
But I want to say this. If anyone's listening right now, I think like for the first time,
that's obsessed with our podcast.
If we have first time listeners, I will say I think there are some things that have made us sounded like haters, and we're not mean to be major haters, but I think that some of that does point to some of the unreality of this.
It's because I hate this storyline because I care.
Well, I don't want to spend forever in the story because I think there was some really good stuff.
Yeah.
I thought this episode what I love most about Charlotte.
Right. Can we just button up that last conversation?
Yes.
Then? I would say it's very fair to say.
You just got shade.
All right.
Yeah. We got shade. It's out.
It's out. It's done.
No more shade.
All this will be next week. It'll all be redeemed if there is one flaw that is like
I agree.
Noticeably brought out.
Shade doesn't like tacos El Bronco. That would be a huge flaw.
That hurts other people because that sort of behavior, no matter how you are, it hurts other people, and that is not being properly explored or like justified in the writing. That I'm done. Okay.
I
like lots of things, and I love period blood.
Are we going there?
I actually do. I love when it's shown in television. I love when.
Oh, that's
I
like
love
how
when normal. I think like Sex in the City is on a 10 when they're being like women fart, women take shits, like
women go to yoga classes and like get like semen sprayed in their faces accidentally.
Yeah,
and
that was
tantric
just
sex
at a
classes.
regular yoga class, not a tantric sex class.
happens-
Just at a
that
yoga
happens-
class.
That just happens in yoga class.
That was at a crunch.
There's just nuts that bust all over yoga class.
But
Vinyasa.
But yeah, seeing a woman who's supposed to be, who thinks they're going through menopause, just bleeding through their jumpsuit. That's what I'm fucking signing up for.
We're gonna talk about this storyline, right?
Yeah.
All right,
I think we should.
We should say.
I love when Corey's getting ready for a sophomore moment. He looks over at the
He starts
best.
smiling.
He's like, "We're gonna do this," and then his phone comes up to the microphone, and I get excited. I'm trembling with anticipation right now.
I'm just gonna say, first time listeners or long time listeners, we're about to wade into us talking about women going through menopause and having their period, and we just need to say
Uninformed male period talk. You stupid. Sorry, ladies.
Was that you saying you stupid?
That was from the internet.
You stupid.
You stupid.
Listen,
Dude, if we had a clip of Anthony just going, "Get out!
Get out,"
it would be perfect for right now. We're going to jump in. We're going to talk.
If it's possible to get toxic shock syndrome from a conversation, you're about to get it. Oh my God.
You thought it was embarrassing listening to us talk about genderqueer. Just wait until we talk about this.
Yeah. Talking about menopause.
It's going to be us rolling over a minefield because we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
If you keep your earbuds in for too long, you could get toxic shock syndrome. Well, first of all, having fingered some vaginas before, some of the
I want a doctor to say that at their like final jury trial. What qualifies you to be a surgeon? Well, first of all, having fingered some vaginas before.
After finding a couple strings in the tushy crack.
When I was just like, when Charlotte was talking about the angles, I was sort of like,
I know.
I was like, oh yeah, that is kind of true, but also, does that make sense?
That's what Drake means in that song where he says, "Got to hit them angles."
Yeah,
he's talking about putting in
I'll
tampons.
tell you what, Katie was like howling during this episode.
Wait, really?
Yeah, she's like, this is just the most accurate depiction of going through that.
This is. I wish we need to put out a thing on the Insta and see what people thought of it, because I had a friend text me from back home that was like before we watched it, and she was like, "Oh, the tampon Lily period story was so stupid." And she was like, "I'm sorry for spoiling it," but she was like, "I thought it was so dumb and overdone."
I thought it was so funny because that's like something that would have happened to. That's something that would have happened to Charlotte in
Sex and the City.
In Sex and the City.
It did feel very Sex and the City,
and
it very much did.
She would be like the innocent, like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm freaking out, and like Samantha would have been like, I'm here to coach you, and it was really fun to see Charlotte in that role, and then still end up as the butt of the joke, because I think Charlotte makes such a good butt of the joke, and she plays it so friggin' well. And so to have her, when she walked away with period blood away from the porta potty, I was like, this is great. This is Sex and the City.
Yeah,
we're watching.
That you're right. That was very Sex and the City. It also was a great payoff for how they all showed up in like fabulous painting clothes. For
Dude, when they showed up in the stretch limo, I'm like, that's also real. That is what, like, I know you're like, it's so unrealistic that they would actually come there. If someone in Charlotte's station were forced to go paint in Greenpoint, her and LTW would show up in a car like that.
Yeah,
and it also,
like, this is fun. We're gonna help poor people for the weekend.
Yeah, and wearing designer like jumpers.
Yes, and it's also funny that like to them going to Greenpoint was like going to the worst neighborhood ever. She's like, we gotta go to Greenpoint. Now, all of them said that. Carrie was like, Carrie was right. It probably does take 3 tunnels to get there from Upper East.
Also, I'm probably going to get roasted because it's probably some really fancy clothing. But did anyone else think LTW looked like Brian Fellows from Saturday Night Live?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Dude, that is so good. We have to put that.
I'm Brian Fellows.
I'm Brian Fellows. I'm painting.
LTW. That is so
I'll call
funny.
some food trucks.
Oh my gosh.
It was like a safari outfit with like shorts.
Yeah, I was wondering why she was like in Glam Squad, why she had a hairbrush and a tiny pocket in her arm. Like she was dressed like someone that was a utility hair and makeup person.
I think it's like, you know, because I think a lot of the show is trying to upend stereotypes. And I think there was a lot there that they were trying to do that is like, this person's glammed out and then taking the pictures. And then Miranda's like, you shouldn't do that. And then it's like, I'll pay for everything. So I think it was like, I think there was something that is like, was purposeful that was like, listen, there can be, because basically Nya Wallace is like a pretty understandable character that's like, it's like a smart, intellectual black woman who's doing this. And then it's also like, you know, black women can also be rich as fuck and dress up and be like, I fucking got this.
Totally.
And I feel like that was, I think they glammed up LTW on a level to just be like, yeah, this person's a high-end art collector. Just because they're helping out in Brooklyn doesn't mean they wouldn't change. They would do exactly what LTW did in that scene. Yeah.
I think there is definitely that exact scene. There's definitely more in this versus Sex and the City of them of the original characters biting their own tongues and saying like, well, I guess I was wrong about that. Like when Nya Wallace and LTW were talking about everything, and then it was like, oh, never mind. I guess they do have this. You know, like LTW is going to save the day.
And then I enjoyed the way they circled back on Nya and Andre's attempt at having kids by him seeing George Washington.
I forgot that actor's name again, but I don't want to look it up because I just want to call him
Chris Jackson.
Chris Jackson.
I'm sorry, Chris Jackson. Ooh, I forgot your name.
I knew that you were in Hamilton, and as an actor, you are so much fun. I love that when we make one rhyme, we're just like, we're great.
Yeah, we're the best.
Me and your castmates
got a special thing going on.
You are on stage singing, and you're on screen
pain,
all grown.
Falls apart after one.
I will say that it was cool they brought up something that's like really important to us.
Painting? Tacos El Bronco?
Just that it is
child labor?
Really hard to be white. And finally they said it. They just came out. Doesn't LTW say that? It's hard to be white.
Seema said
that.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the
pod... When did Seema say it's hard to be white?
When Carrie is complaining that she couldn't just write a check.
Oh, and then Seema becomes the brown woman that writes a check.
Yeah.
But
which was great. I love that storyline too.
I love that storyline, but it's completely upended by the fact that Nya Wallace is like, yeah, we need money to fucking pay for the food. So it's like, seems like the check is pretty important.
Listen, I'll tell you we have friends that work in nonprofit. And I will tell you this, that, you know, it's like, hey, people are like, you got to roll up your sleeves and stuff. You talk to someone who works in a nonprofit, they are never going to turn away a check.
No,
what a nonprofit is
zero.
Like, I'm sorry, put it away. Roll up your sleeves and grab a paintbrush. No, they're going to be like, give me all the money.
Yeah, Carrie did the money too, right?
Yeah, both.
I feel like you do the money. Yeah, you do both. No, I thought that was a funny line. And I thought it was funny and it was kind of bold. I thought it was LTW that said it. So
maybe it was
for a long time.
I also liked seeing Seema just be a boss bitch. Like she was just crushing it with the cigarettes, chilling, hanging.
Yeah.
Like when that guy
when fucking you don't mess with the Zohan comes up behind her. He's just like, I'm sorry, who is this hot lady? Who is this hot lady that smokes? Can I do her hair? This is my club.
Dude, from a distance, I thought it was McConaughey.
Oh, really?
I was like, is that Matthew McConaughey?
Dude, you know how if that person's actually an actual entrepreneur, because you know, realistically behind closed doors, he's so pissed there's a woman shelter going in there. He's so mad.
Oh no,
dude! People at restaurants, like nice restaurants in this area, a shelter open, and that was like the conversation in the neighborhood. And I was like,
"Jeez!"
At my favorite taco place, they were just like, "Yeah, we're not happy." And I was like, see, but yeah, it was. I guess it seemed kind of coincidental. It's hard because they brought everybody together, but since there's so many disparate threads
Yeah.
of
Yes,
characters,
I agree.
I think that if you get all 4 girls together and their partners, it's easy in Sex and the City. Like, we're here. This, they had to do a lot of work to get everyone there. And
Yeah.
I guess there were certain times that I'm glad they attempted it. There were times that I was like, really? Is everyone going to be there?
Yeah.
But I guess I appreciate the attempt.
I was totally fine with it.
What do you? Yeah, I mean that is true. It was like a family, like a whole family app near the end right there. Was this the one that Chris Noth got cut out of because he was on the IMDb page for this
Really?
episode? Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe
I
she
bet
thought
she would have listened to like a voicemail or like she had like a video of him that she was
So,
gonna watch.
yeah.
because she was
maybe
thinking
after-
about the wedding ring so
And,
much.
Yeah, after
and Mr.
Mr.
Trigg, had a voice recording of his wife, Anna.
What do you think is going to happen with Nya Wallace and Andre? Because I think now there was like some conflict between them saying, he was like, I'm making a pivot. I'm ready to make a pivot. And she seems like she's like over kids now. Oh, not over kids, but just kind of being like, I don't need that. Like when Lily was in the Porta-John.
Yeah, I don't think they'll end up with kids.
I don't know what. I thought she was like excited about it and gung ho, and then disappointed when it didn't happen. So I'm like,
You think that she's.
I'm a little
that was kind of
confused.
her last stab at it, and she was like, "I'm good. I'm ready to embrace whatever the next step is." And then
Yeah.
he got back on board with it now.
yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens with their storyline, but I felt like we missed a little, we missed one conversation between the two of them. Because I'm trying to think, the last time they the last time they talked was
it in the car?
it was when Miranda blew up their spot in the car.
Yeah,
But I
think
feel
that
like
was-
there's one important conversation of
Yeah.
her being like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through with it anymore. And him being like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
And then he sees, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson painting. And he's like, yeah, I'm in.
there does seem to be a thing that happens in this show where you go like when Miranda was like, I'm going to ask Steve for a divorce. It was like,
It just
there
happened.
must have been other conversations because everyone was like, okay,
Yeah.
like it seems like people are
Totally.
very
At the
settled on
chat and
things.
chew you're talking about?
Yeah, the chat.
Yeah.
I wonder if I personally wonder if Nya Wallace is like, I don't want kids because I'm fine. But if Andre, her husband, wants to pivot, because she talked about all he can see now is a baby. Like he was like, oh, if someone would have put a baby in the guitar case, he wouldn't notice. Do you think though he's pivoting because he needs a new career and he needs something to do because he was never very good?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it makes me think if the storyline's going to go like this.
Nya Wallace's husband. New music drop.
Is he just really bad at music? I didn't set that one up well. I was going to say.
Nya Wallace's husband. What if that's really a
Does he
Spotify
have a real name?
Yeah,
His name is
it's
Andre. It's Andre Rashad. But when I was
Nya Wallace's husband.
It's
New
fun.
music.
It's funny when I was looking at it because I was like, oh, his name's Andre, but I was like, I think anyone else I would talk to, no one's going to be like, I wonder what Andre thinks about kids. Everyone's like, yeah, what's Nya's husband?
Nya's husband.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who Andre is.
But wait, was he talking about music?
Yeah, he's a musician.
He's a musician. He's a traveling musician.
He's a traveling musician.
Okay.
He's been gigging in the subways, and I was like, I just think maybe
He's just bad.
He wants to become a father because every time he puts out new music, it's just like
That
that's
sounded
great, honey.
awful. That
Like,
sounded awfully lot like the crowd that was booing Che's comedy performance too.
Yeah, well,
Do you think he opens for Che?
it's possible?
Doesn't and then wait. Do you have Che's one? Let's
Well-
hear if it's the same crowd.
Oh, hang on.
If it's the same, it's we don't. have to.
No. Let me see. The Che one was the Che. Let's see.
Che Diaz. Live in Cleveland.
I think you could use some weed.
Yeah, same crowd.
Same crowd.
Same crowd. Listen,
It's
So
the
we-
same
it's-
exact collection.
It's decided that Andre Rashad opens for Che Diaz
Andre
in Cleveland.
Rashad opens for
Wow.
Che Diaz, and you got to think if you if you're not a Che Diaz fan, but you're going there and you're hoping to hear some good music, this is what you're signing up for.
New music drop.
Dude, that one's just so niche because I'm like, I'm invested in like, I guess Andre and Nya Wallace having a kid, but I'm like not paying attention enough to remember what he does at.
But this is why I think that this show, I've said it before, like I like that couple. I want to see them on a different show. We have too many characters on the show now.
That needs to be, there's a lot.
There's a lot in this world. I mean, like we're doing full story arcs.
They got rid of Justin really fast today.
Justin
coming out of the gate strong, denying the
Yeah.
Holocaust. Get out!
I like that because there's a lot of gay guys out there that are just like that are probably
Holocaust deniers.
Yeah,
really?
No,
explain that one.
Yeah, log cabin Republicans.
That's true.
Just gay Republicans.
I talked to a friend this.
There's QAnon gays, and there's
I talked to a friend this week who she used to work with a guy who's gay who is currently dating 2 young male gay porn stars, and he's like a super right wing conservative gay guy who like he has like a super fancy job, but he's like very right wing, and he's dating porn stars.
What if Anthony brought Tim Dillon over?
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
Is this a Jewish dinner? I'm Catholic,
dude.
Oh
yeah.
man, that was them fucking knocking it out of the park with
great.
because that's just a funny bit.
Yeah,
especially then when they do the
they're all saying
I'm sorry to this. It's like the rule of threes.
Yeah, eating burnt challah.
Yeah,
like Harry forgets to check the challah every single time they make a
especially
meal.
when he was saying he was going to check it.
Yeah,
it was such an Evan Handler thing, but he was so serious that I was like, is this just like oddly serious acting? And it paid off very well.
You know what's great about going to dinner at Charlotte and Harry's house? They're going to greet you. He's going to greet you with a suit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he doesn't do a casual dinner at his house.
Yeah.
He rocks the suit, and I appreciate that.
It's Shabbat. We're not fucking around.
Oh
Exactly.
man, I want to go so bad.
I know.
I
love that we got a good Anthony scene.
Oh yeah.
Great Anthony scene. He's always bringing the pain.
Hawkeye
I'm surprised.
bread.
This bread is heavy.
I do want to say this about tampons that and I've talked about this on stage, but the first time that the
Uninformed male period talk. You stupid. Sorry, ladies.
Go ahead.
I was in college, and this girl that I met at a restaurant, because she was my server, and then I was like, we should hang out sometime. Then we hung out, and then we ended up in Pittsburgh at some place, and I'd never seen cocaine. And then she proceeded to ask if I wanted to do cocaine, and she took a tampon out, took the inside of the tampon out, and then used the tampon applicator because you kind of shoot the thing in, and like it like shoots up. So then the applicator is just like an open piece of plastic.
Sorry, ladies.
and then everybody used the tampon.
Wait, can you explain the applicator again?
Well, the applicator
just for our audience who might not be familiar.
Yeah, it's like plastic.
Okay.
Stupid.
Yeah. But then it's not like it's not like the thing, the thing that soaks up. It's just a plastic thing. It's used and then the plastic thing you can use to do cocaine with. And so yeah, they use that all the time. That was the first time I saw like the innards of how a tampon works. I saw my sister. I grew up with sisters, so I saw bloody tampons in the trash all the time. But this is the first time I saw
bloody tampons and empty bags of cocaine.
And empty bags of cocaine. Those are my parents.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like,
think your mom ever did a line off the battleship?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Kevin's mom.
So good. Yeah, so no, that's just I know the inner workings of tampons from that,
Whoops, sorry.
That was man, thank you for that. That was really informative.
Oh, and then after I went to go kiss the girl at the end of the night, she's like coked up. I didn't do any cocaine.
You just stuck the tampon applicator up your
No,
nose?
I went to kiss her and she was like, I thought you were gay.
That's great.
Yeah. It was that was a memorable night. There was a lot of firsts that night.
So since we're still in period land, what do we think of the whole Lily thing? It felt very Sex in the City to me.
I thought it was great.
I thought the montage was a little goof town, but then also I was like, this is a classic Sex in the City Charlotte montage. It was
watching YouTube videos.
Well, that was a better montage than
the
tennis montage.
Yeah. When Charlotte was like laying in the bathtub, it had a great payoff.
Yeah.
I just really I thought it was really funny. I thought Lily did a really great job. She did. She shined.
She did shine.
You know Lily's 26? The actress?
Wait, really?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Did you know Rock's 51? Rock is 51.
Rock is 51?
Yeah.
So 26.
26?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
She legit looks like she's like 17.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah. Isn't that like weird?
Yeah.
Yes, it is weird.
It is weird, but also
like if someone I knew was attracted to her, I would judge them.
Well, yeah, because if it's presented like, I mean, obviously she's beautiful, but I was just like, that's like weird to then like.
Do you think she plays the role as the little kid on How to Catch a Predator? She said, "Come on in, my parents aren't home.
Hey, have some
down.
lemonade.
Eat some challah. Sorry, my dad burnt it."
Yeah. Sorry, my dad.
Did I ever tell you about my Chris Hansen story?
Were you in an elevator with him, right?
I was in an elevator with him, and I was looking down at my phone. I was in 30 Rock, and he was I was talking
the building, not the TV show.
Yeah, it's the building, exactly. Yeah, I don't know why I said it like that. I was in the building. I was in an elevator, and I was talking to a friend, and I was talking about someone that I had met like the night before, and I think or something like the week before, and I think I was talking about like an app or something like that, but I don't fully remember. But it was something about how we had like an age difference and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I like just kept talking and looking down at my phone, and then the elevator stopped and he got on, and then I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're actually going to meet up or not. Like there is like an age difference and stuff. And then like I looked up from the phone and he had gotten off, and someone was like, "Did you know Chris Hansen?"
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Hi, Cory. I'm Chris Hansen.
Hi,
We're
Cory.
at the 7th floor.
Do you want to hear my Chris Hansen story?
Okay, you're free to go.
Remember the Kool-Aid dude on the show?
There's something so satisfying about watching. I really could watch that for hours.
Well,
What's
that's what finding out Lily was 26 felt like.
That's
I felt like I was made a fool of. No, it was just fine. I was just looking around on the IMDb and I saw that.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They should do
good for that.
If next week's episode was just Chris Hansen like jumping out of Harry and Charlotte's kitchen while Lily ran into the back room,
yeah,
I would be so thrilled. I would be so happy.
And then you know who's gonna get in trouble is who commented on Lily's Instagram?
Who?
Remember in Instagram? I wish I knew the username of the person that said hot on Lily's Instagram. That would have been the best callback.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, fuck.
But sorry, we need to talk Carrie.
We got to talk Carrie and Steve.
And the rings and Lisette and the drain and friggin' Steve the plumber. No crack.
All right. Let's
and Steve, we need to you keep saying that Steve's being done dirty. Here's time to do a Steve talk. It's his moment to shine.
Do you want to do a Steve talk?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think we should do a Steve talk, but I will say I do think they're doing Steve dirty because this is their moment to justify it, and I think that they're making him like stupidly committed. Like this is another scene where he's like, "I'm never taking it off," which is like romantic, but it's her being like moving on and him. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but it's like they're making him foolish in even his commitment. They're like, you sat on the couch and ate dessert and didn't engage your wife in like adventures in the second half of their life. And now you're just like committed to a sham marriage.
He's committed to stirring the oatmeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
And like, what do you think would be an appropriate response for Steve to like spite Miranda and hate her?
No, like it
seems pretty true to his character.
No, I think the scenes should be together. The downfall of the writing of this is that it is not. None of it is it's all happened behind each other's backs, and I don't feel like anyone is connected to like what happened to their marriage, because there's no scenes of them together, which maybe was just a cost thing or maybe it was a scheduling thing. But like, I don't know. I think I also listen to the Writers Room podcast, and how
dare you plug another podcast in this show?
Well, I'll tell you what, I told Cory that it's not good for me to listen to it because knowing their motivations.
That's why I didn't listen.
Yeah. And it made me hate this scene more because they're like, they basically said that the scene was there to show that like he's holding on to the past and it spurs Carrie on into the future to.
Yeah. I liked that.
Yeah. Well, does marriage mean anything? Like people can change and get divorced. I'm not saying that, but it's change. But I don't think like they're so obsessed with showing like new pretty things that they wrote that.
But Carrie thinks Steve is making a mistake.
Making a mistake by not taking his ring off?
Yes. And that's so like you're saying you're frustrated because you think Steve's character is not like going out there or getting out there, or like you feel Steve is making a mistake. And so does Carrie.
The writers is the main character, Steve, and don't respect Steve. And I think that is true. I don't think they have a respect for Steve and the values that Steve has.
I think Steve. First of all, I think that. Sorry, what?
I just said Miranda.
Miranda. We'll do a Steve talk in a sec. I think first of all, you got to give Steve a little bit of time. Carrie was like, "Oh, I'm surprised he showed up." So it's like it's been what, like a month? Like,
yeah.
Of course he's gonna leave his ring on. He's been married for 20 something years.
Yeah.
Also, I sent both of you a clip of this. It was not the Stir the Oatmeal book, We by Robert Johnson. It was another book that was talking about just the difference between romanticism and between romanticism and it didn't say, I think it was commitment or covenant or whatever, but it was basically saying that in something like marriage, like you basically can be terrible and can forgive, because it's like it can't, if it's based on purely romanticism and based on feeling and based on growing in and out of things. And I'm not saying that people, can't get divorced. I'm not saying that Miranda can't change and grow into another person, but it was basically saying you can't just say everything needs to be exciting and amazing all the time, and if it's not, I'm out, because it's like that's it. You actually have more freedom if you're like, it was never based on excitingness. It was basically based on saying, we're locked into this and we're free to be whoever we are. It's almost probably the kind of argument for arranged marriages that people give sometimes, where they're like, oh, we learned to love each other, like the Aziz Ansari's parents and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think in the Steve thing, I think that people are not, I agree. I don't think they're giving Steve enough stuff. And like, I think that he should absolutely be where he is right now. And I don't think that it like necessarily fell apart because he was like a dud husband. There's been a lot of people saying that. I mean, granted, I do think maybe they did grow apart. And I told you, Kevin, like a week ago that I was like, I think that they've always kind of been on a not always level playing field.
Yeah.
They've always had a little bit. I mean, if you go back to like the corduroy suit and stuff, like he's always been.
Miranda's always been a pisser.
She's always been a pisser.
She's been a pisser.
I think that he wants different things than her.
Gosh, Debbie.
But God, he should just get out there with Debbie. But I don't know. I
emailed Debbie. She didn't email back.
Thanks a lot, Debbie.
We'll get her.
Thanks a lot, Debbie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll get her in for a Steve talk.
I'm leaning a little bit more to Kevin. I think that it would end up being fine if they were like they're in two different places, but I don't think that they're giving him a ton of respect. And I also think it was realistic, but I think that when the writers made Steve trip over the pronouns and also made Steve seem very confused by the whole situation, it kind of undercuts when everyone else seems to be very caught up on these things. And Steve seems like an old man who's just like, oh, it's like Che doesn't wear a dress. Hold on. Like, I think there's a little bit, it's like, hey, Steve, it could either be very realistic that is how he is, but that's okay because he's trying, or it seems to be written to his detriment. Whereas I think that there's been gendering stuff earlier on with the other characters, but it just seems like Steve is just like, hold on a second. There's more than one gender?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I definitely think they won't end up together. And I just feel like maybe that, I don't know, maybe they're all three in the same room. There's like a setup situation where it's like, I like his acting and I liked Carrie's acting too.
Yeah.
There was just something that it was like, and it is always fun for characters to, to like for Elaine and George to hang out essentially without Jerry, you know? And, when was the other time? It was basically like maybe the only other time Carrie and Steve hung out is like basketball time.
Yeah.
On like the stoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was like,
was that after the affair or was that?
I think she asked like advice about like Aiden advice.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. I think you're right.
Aiden advice. That is Aiden advice to the tune of Edelweiss from Sound of Music.
Welcome to Aiden Weiss. Do you see a pretty lady wearing a nice article of clothing? Are you walking your dog? Walk up to that pretty lady and say, "Hey, Pop-Tart, this is Pete.
Aiden advice.
I make furniture. I got a huge ass head and nice long hair."
My phone just buzzed. I want to give a special shout out to Emily J. I'm not going to say her last name. Emily J just became a patron right now. My phone buzzed. So, but I would say like, thank you, Emily. Also, I think with Carrie, I think she's going to like go on her first big date tomorrow. Also, what happened to her book? Next week's going to be the book release.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is. And she meets someone at the book release. And it's going to be the same as, it's not going to be, because it's like the most important relationship is myself. It's going to be that. It's going to be like, maybe.
I'm still holding out that Aiden and Che are fucking.
Aiden, dude, that'd be so awesome.
Jaden. That's their celebrity name.
Oh my gosh.
You're still holding out on that? Is that a brand new thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still holding out.
Still holding out on this new idea that I have.
Dude, Aiden and Lily are going to do a tampon montage.
Dude.
Oh gosh. Hey, find the string.
Get me in your tushy crack.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's what he calls his newest date. Hey, tushy crack.
Hey, tushy crack. Hey, tushy crack. Let me get that string out of there and let's get over to have a beer.
Oh gosh. Hey, how old do you think Rock is? The actress that plays Rock.
How old?
24.
That's insane.
The actress who plays Rock is 24 and is a distant cousin of Tilda Swinton. Her name's Alexa Swinton. Yeah. Anyway,
that's pretty cool.
That's wild.
Those are
some old miners.
Well, let's do our Cosmo ratings. I'm very curious to hear what yours is going to be, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it. No, we're doing Cosmo.
All right. What is it? What is yours, Kevin?
1.5.
Wow. That is so wild.
And it's 1 Cosmo for Charlotte and 0.5 for Lily and her big step, her period bar mitzvah
her
we
ankles.
got to experience. She's a woman now.
That's wild.
Wait, was this her first period? I thought she just didn't know how to use a tampon. I was like, is she just using pads or something?
Wait, also, I thought there was definitely going to be a shout out to Spanx or to Diva Cups.
Yeah, totally.
Like girls, bleed and have periods in like very different ways now.
Yeah.
And that's like, I've seen advertisements for all of these products all around New York City. I thought maybe.
Yeah, just like we said earlier.
Sorry, ladies.
That's insane. That's the lowest Cosmo you've ever given an episode ever.
Yes.
That's you're a crazy person.
Sorry.
What's yours?
2.75. I actually went up. I have to say, my reason.
You went up from what?
think it was at a 2.25.
Okay.
I think
So that's your real rating.
Well, I think
No, it's 2.75.
we've said before. Here's my reasons, though. It's not just full hating. I agree. I definitely have some chate, but part of my chate is that I was so keyed up for Miranda to take the fall, which I feel like we were set up for, and maybe that'll happen. But now we are getting giggly school. You said something on the Instagram that was really good. Is that Miranda's just being Carrie. And I love how solid Carrie is in this series as an individual. Carrie's doing great, but I just feel like we're not getting any great Miranda payoff, and we're just getting Che being like, what? I mean, Che is actually playing a very great stoned person.
Yeah.
But at that, I like the fact that it was very much like an old Sex in the City. But I thought last week's episode should have been something like the second to last episode. I felt like last week's episode was on fire. And also, a lot of times in a series, the penultimate, the second to last, is just like, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
And that would always happen on The Wire. And this one, I was just like, oh, this was kind of fun. And it also had problems. There was one thing that we didn't get to talk about, is that Che and Miranda, when they have their lovers talk, Che, talks about improv. And Che was like, I'm not good at improv. Mm-hmm. And, it did make me wonder what Che Diaz improv would look like. I feel like it might be something like
Che Diaz improv. Yes, and I do a ton of weed.
So I don't know.
The rule of improv is yes and.
Yes and is the rule. Of
Yes,
improv.
and I do a ton of weed.
That is so funny.
I give this episode 5 Cosmos.
What?
This episode was so
Jesus
good.
Christ.
Every scene was enjoyable and fun. And I don't give a shit that they didn't go to Cleveland. I was bummed about that for like 2 seconds, and I got over it, and I had a fun time. Tacos O'Bronco was in it.
That's true.
We had all the characters together for painting. We had some Charlotte hijinks. We had Carrie going on the date, pondering her ring. We had Lisette. Great episode. Would watch again. Loved it.
Wow. This is so interesting because it shows like that is the biggest disparity we've ever had in the history of this podcast.
I probably gave it 5 just to spite you. If it was a real rating, I would have given it a 4.5. But I would argue if you didn't listen to the Writers Room podcast and get all riled up, you would have been north of 2.
No,
you know it.
No,
you
it's
know
not.
it.
It's not true.
Yes,
I
it is.
listened to it to try to help me like it
No.
more. Yes, I did. Trust me. I've been texting and ranting with Olivia and Kirkman.
Yeah, you've been riling yourself up.
Olivia and Kirkman are like two of the they're big fans of the show and the messages of the show. So that's why we got on this whole thing. I'm not.
Wow. You're
doing the Bradshaw always dirty.
I tried to hear what they would say, and all they did was like they're in another world.
Kevin, listen,
I can't.
Fine, Kevin. Okay,
all right,
wait. And also, they missed one thing. They could have had a nice long scene because you know how they're very good. Like in the freak show, they have like freaks. They have a metaphor, and then they had a perfect opportunity for Steve to say something along the line that's like, she's so obsessed with fingering, but there's one finger that matters right here. It's this finger. I mean, I do wonder if they have like a finger. Metaphor that there couldn't
we
go
need to
full
talk
on with
about
it.
fingering in every episode.
But he was just playing with his fingers the whole time, and I was like, it is funny that she got fingered and it's the finger.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any of that there? I just thought of that.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I did like the fact that. Sorry, I know.
All right, back to hating this episode.
I did like that we had a Lily Charlotte tie-in. I feel like we had a great thematic thing there that we got from old episodes. That was really nice. You think we're going to see Zohan again?
I hope so.
We see Zohan again.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Check out our Patreon if you haven't already. We do a lot more goose in there, a lot more disagreements with Kevin and his shitty Ray needs. And we love you all so much. Thanks for listening. And as always, later taters.
Later taters.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys. And if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.
Sorry, ladies.